Hi, today I want to talk a little bit about whether carbs are causing type 2 diabetes. Because I get people that say to me, and I think that type 2 diabetes is caused by carbohydrates. So if you know me, you know that I'm a big proponent of a low carbohydrate diet to reverse diabetes, but that doesn't necessarily mean that carbs in and of themselves are actually causing diabetes. It's true that a prolonged high insulin level and prolonged high glucose levels can help and contribute towards insulin resistance, which then can lead to type 2 diabetes, but that is not the whole story. Our bodies function in a way that will only allow them to burn one type of fuel at any one time, and that would be fat or carbohydrates. Because generally we don't use proteins for fuel, they're used for maintenance, repair and muscle building, etc. So unless you're consuming a lot of protein, those are not really taken into account. So whenever there are both fats and carbohydrates around, your body will always choose to burn the carbs first. Why is this? As you know, or I think you know if you're a type 2 diabetic, we don't want high blood sugar. It's toxic, it's dangerous, it can kill you. It has killed people. If a type 1 diabetic doesn't get any help, they will eventually die. Okay? So that's dangerous. Our bodies don't like dangerous situations. They are made to keep us safe and healthy as far as they can. But it's not especially dangerous to have a lot of fat floating around in your blood system. And we can safely store a lot of fat throughout the body. That's not a problem. So we don't need to burn it. We can just put it into the fat cells or whatever there's space while our bodies are burning off the carbs that we just ate. So there are very few foods in nature that contain a lot of carbs and fats, which means that we wouldn't have had this problem back in the days when we evolved. We would never have had a feast containing a lot of carbohydrates and a lot of fats together. Okay, so the biggest offender here that is fighting against our nature and our genes and how we are made, literally the genetic makeup of us and how we function, is fast food. Because pretty much all fast food, or junk food I should say, has a lot of fat and carbohydrates. Okay, so if you have a look at something like, let's say, Domino's pizza. So this is a pepperoni pizza with a classic crust. On the picture you can see this is one serving size, but most people eat a lot more than a serving size, okay? So there are 8 servings in a pizza. So I have calculated this for you, so you don't have to think about it, because a lot of people will probably eat a whole pizza. Now, I don't do this because I don't like pizza a lot, but if I like pizza, I will definitely eat the whole pizza. That's not a problem. And then you will get 1,472 calories in this pizza. You will get 54.4 grams of protein. That sounds pretty good so far. You will get 41.6 grams of fat, and you will get 212.8 grams of carbs, of which 20.8 grams are sugar. Just take that in, like over 200 grams of carbs, over 20 grams of sugar in a pizza, which is supposed to be a savory food, and a bunch of fat, 41.6 grams of fat. This is not good news. 212.8 grams of carbs is going to take you a while to process. So if you compare that with how much we have in our bodies or in the bloodstream, you're supposed to have roughly 5 grams of carbohydrates. That's all the energy you need to function normally. So that is a lot of energy, and there's a lot of carbohydrates. Or if you want to have a look at something that kind of is closer to my heart, I like the sweet stuff, so what about a Dunkin' Donut? So this is what you will get from eating one donut. You will get 360 calories, 3 grams of proteins, pretty much nothing, 19 grams of fat, 44 grams of carbs, of which 19 grams are sugars. So again, it's like the perfect storm. We have both fat and carbohydrate. So your body is going to work really hard on getting rid of those carbs, and it's going to store all those fats everywhere. You're never going to burn them off. You're just going to keep storing them because you can't. Your insulin is going to be high, which prevents you from burning fat, and your whole system is going to be geared towards burning the carbohydrates. Because now you have both carbs and fat. There's no way you can burn the fat when the carbs are present. So this is the whole problem. Okay? And if you want to compare that with a piece of steak, for example, which has virtually no carbohydrates in it, or a potato, which has no fat in it, you can quickly see that the foods that we love to indulge in are not looking anything like the foods that we evolved eating. So if I gave you a boiled potato, how would you feel about that? Most people are like, it's not actually that good. Make them into chips, or French fries, mashed potatoes, whatever you want to do. When we add fat, our senses light up. And we're like, oh my god, I love potatoes. You might say, I love potatoes. And what are you thinking about is not a boiled potato. Yeah, because that is boring. I don't even like potatoes. But if I'm going to eat potatoes, I want to have a lot of butter and salt on. That make them palatable to me. But that also make them especially bad for me. If I had a diet consisting of lean meats and boiled potatoes, I would probably not get diabetes. I probably wouldn't be super healthy for other reasons, but it wouldn't necessarily give me diabetes, even if I ate lots and lots of potatoes. Because my system would be geared up for using these carbs, and it would be much more capable of doing so when there is not a lot of fat that we have to store as well. It's taking up all the space. And a problem with this is you can eat a lot of potatoes, but there is a limit to how many you can eat. And obviously there are cultures back, well, even now I think, that might live of mostly carbohydrates, but they are eating the carbohydrates in their natural form, and they don't have a lot of diabetes. So we can say that diabetes isn't actually necessarily causing, carbohydrates aren't necessarily causing the diabetes, but when you add a lot of fat as well, you're getting a problem here, because that fat is going to be stored in your liver and in your pancreas and everywhere and cause a lot of trouble. So it's not that we are eating fat that is the problem. The problem is the combination of fat and carbohydrates in the way that we are creating them in the junk food that we sell that is really palatable to us. So can you eat a low fat, high carb diet and be fine? Probably. If you already have type 2 diabetes, no, you can't do that, because then you already have the problem. So it's the combination of fats, sugar, starches that is creating the problem for us. So I just want to point out that although unprocessed carbs in isolation don't necessarily cause diabetes, please do not take that as that I endorse that sort of diet. It's still not a healthy diet for someone who does not have diabetes. And if you do have diabetes, it's still a dangerous diet for you, because it will still spike your blood sugar a lot. And once you have diabetes, that is still dangerous, and that is still a huge problem. So if you like the videos that I'm putting together and you want to see more and learn more, just subscribe to the channel, tick that little bell so that you get a notification whenever I post a new video. Also leave a comment, let me know what you want to see more of. Do you have questions? Do you have something that you might want me to make a video on? Just let me know. And we also have a Facebook group for type 2 diabetics. So if you're a type 2 and you want some more help, you want to ask some questions in the Facebook group, you might want to see what resources we have there. We're trying to teach people how to eat a low carb diet to reverse the diabetes, then that is a place for you. So please come and join us in there.